그리고 오디오 채널
파일이 순서는 문제예요.
안녕하세요. 저 행사팀입니다. 오늘 포토타임은 모든 행사 토크쇼가 끝난 이후에 진행될 예정이고요. 순서는 톰 크루즈가 첫 번째, 그 다음 단체샷, 그 다음에 개인샷 진행 예정이고, 개인샷은 아직 최종 확정은 아니지만 감독님, 헤일리, 에레, 사이먼 페그, 바네사 커비, 폴 클레멘티 F 순으로 진행될 예정입니다. 취재에 참고 부탁드립니다.
그러면
오늘 행사는 공식 통역으로 진행됩니다. 행사 전에 나눠드린 리시버가 문제없이 작동되는지 체크 중입니다. 이어폰을 한쪽 귀에 착용해 주시기 바랍니다. 혹시 지금 소리가 들리지 않으신 경우는 소리를 들어주시면 진행 요원이 교체해 드리도록 하겠습니다. 이번 행사는 절대 생중계가 불가합니다. 유튜브, 인스타그램을 포함한 모든 소셜미디어 중계가 불가하다는 점 다시 한번 말씀드리겠습니다. 오늘은 오직 현장에 참석해주신 기자님들만을 위한 취재 시간으로 활용 부탁드립니다.
지금까지 본 게 없어가지고 준비하려고 했는데 찍을 거예요? 네, 알겠습니다. 라이브가 안 된대요. 그래서 일단 이거 혜택 끌 거니까 그렇게 알고 있어요. 그러면 저희 이거 라이브
생중계 문의가 있어서 말씀드리는데요. 본 행사는 생중계는 아예 불가능하고요. 혹시 행사 끝나고 빠르게 영상을 업로드하시고 싶은 영상 기자님들은 바로 올리셔도 되니까 취재에 참여 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
중계는
빨리 하죠.
기자회견 사회를 맡은 정효연입니다. 2022년 탑건 네버리그로 여름 극장가에서 큰 사랑을 받은 톰 크루즈가 이번에는 미션 임파서블 데드 레코닝 파트 1으로 한국을 찾았습니다. 기자님들 모두 어제 진행된 언론 시사회를 통해 영화를 관람하셨을 텐데요. 어려운 발걸음 해주신 모든 기자님들께 감사 인사를 전합니다. 이번 행사는 생중계가 절대 불가함을 다시 한번 말씀드리겠습니다. 오늘 참석하신 기자님들만의 취재 시간을 허락 부탁드리며 지금부터 영어로 행사를 진행하겠습니다. 동시통역 리시버를 착용 부탁드립니다. Welcome, members of the press, to the press conference of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm Haley Jung, your moderator for today. We'll begin with a 13-minute reel specially edited for today's press conference here in Korea. A gentle reminder that the video cannot be recorded. Let's take a look.
I've learned in all my years. Sometimes you gotta say, what the fuck?
Help? Just a fluke. That's all, just a fluke.
Therefore, the Board of Inquiry finds Lieutenant Keith Mitchell was not at fault in the accident of 29 July. Lieutenant Mitchell's record will be cleared of this incident. Lieutenant Mitchell is restored to flight status without further delay.
I saw Jenny walking with a crew, doing the wells of London. I saw Jenny walking with a crew.
You never touch the steering wheel when I'm driving. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Raymond, am I using you? Am I using you, Raymond? Yeah. Shut up! He is answering a question from a half hour ago.
You build me a car and I'll win Daytona next year.
My name is Stan Kovic. I'm a Vietnam veteran. My name is Ron Kovic. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm here tonight. People say that this war is wrong, that this society lied to me, lied to my brothers. People say if you don't love America, then get the hell out. Well, I love America. Why are they fighting us? Because it is a lie. The truth is that they have killed a whole generation of young men. They have sacrificed a whole generation of young men. Stop lying.
Lieutenant Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? Because that's what you told Lieutenant Kendrick to do.
Object, when it went bad, you cut these guys loose. Your Honor, you have markers inside the body trans. Your Honor, you doctored the logbook. Captain, force the doc.
Consider yourself in contempt.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
Hello?
Get out of there. There you go. Get out.
Help me! Help me, Rod. Help me! Help you. Help me. Help you.
Show me the money.
Show me the money! Show me the money! Show me the money!
You've been a very, very naughty little girl.
Every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around. Everybody runs.
And we gotta make the best of it. Improvise, adapt to the environment. Darwin, shit happens, I Ching, whatever, man. We gotta roll with it.
I will not apologize for who I am. I'm gonna cry.
I will not apologize for what I want!
Speedman is a dying star, a white dwarf heading for a black hole. That's physics. It's inevitable. You think I'm a hero? I am not a hero. I'm a drifter with nothing to lose. I mean to beat you to death and drink your blood from a boot.
That's for the damage. And here's a little something extra for your sister. Hey, little darling. And your body. You never saw me. Do it. You complete me. Not just as.
You had me at hello. You had me at hello.
visiting Korea for the 11th time, a man of his word. Please welcome the one, the only, Mr. Tom Cruise. Tom, welcome.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, thank you. We are all so very excited to have you. You just got here yesterday, right? So, and this is your 11th time visiting Korea. Tell us how it feels this time.
That feels amazing. Every time I come, I just feel very welcome. The other night when we arrived, I went out and of course I had to have Korean barbecue. I went to a great place, great restaurant, and then just walked around and said hello to everyone around the areas.
That's
They're
wonderful.
very special. Especially during this time, because making the film with this cast, to have them here, we're all very excited about tonight to present the film to everyone and talk about these moments, what it's like to come to this country and be here. So it's very special. It's always very special. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, so I want to start off by asking you, it's incredible to see your filmmaking accomplishments over the year, I mean, to say the least, over your career. And so we want to know what motivates you to continue making movies.
I just have an absolute passion for storytelling. It's something that I've wanted to do since I was 4 years old. Make movies and I wanted to travel the world. When you see my films, it's really encompasses a whole life. I spent most of my life in rented houses and hotels, and I always wanted an adventurous life. And it's something that I feel very privileged to be able to do it. And it is a passion for life, a passion for storytelling. I never went to a formal education for film or acting. I've studied it. I was lucky the first films that I auditioned for I got since I was 18. And I would go and I'd study every single department on the film. And I just studied it and studied, and that's what I did on every single movie. And I grew up watching films. I had jobs cutting grass or, all kinds of jobs. I had a lot of odd jobs where I just go up and shovel snow out of people's driveways to make money. And then I would go to the movies. And so then when I was 18 years old, I went to New York and I started auditioning for films. And actually the first film I auditioned for, I got. And the next film I auditioned for, I got the role. But I would also, as a kid, I would write characters and create skits. And I would create different kinds of characters to entertain my family or friends. So there was always that storyteller that was there.
Thank you. And with every new mission film, it's so obvious that you always raise the bar. So could you tell us, how have you made Dead Reckoning Part 1 your biggest mission film yet?
Well, it was really Christopher McQuarrie, who he'll come out shortly. He said, I said, do you want to do another one? He said, sure. And he said, I want to do 2 movies, because always the stories that we have, the film is so big and the stories are so fast that he said, let's do 2. So I said, okay, let's break it off into 2. And then we just go back and forth on the kind of environment that we want. If you look at my films, they celebrate cultures and geography. And that's Mission Impossible, which was the very first film. The first Mission Impossible was the first film that I ever produced. And now here we are all these years later. So that's what happened, essentially. We come up and look at geography, and we're looking at, what's that story going to tell us? So and also we wanted, when you look at this mission, what it's encompassing, the kind of, I also felt that the whole series could earn this moment, earn this level of scale of storytelling and scale of action, and not just for my character, but for the entire cast.
And speaking of scale, we cannot not talk about the amazing stunts. And so we all saw the incredible motorcycle jump. How much work does it go into pulling something off like that? I mean, I can't imagine.
It's, doing a stunt like that, it's also, we're both focused, McHugh and I are focused on story, what story we're going to tell. Finding, because I fly airplanes, helicopters, jets, warbirds, I parachute, you'll see, I guess we're going to show speed flying that I do. And, so that it's really decades of ability that is then focused to be able to do something like this. So I broke this, what I do is I'll break things down so that I'm very competent and capable at it, so that we had to really figure out, had to train, do extra training and parachuting and unstable positions at very low altitude so that I would recover quickly. Just more training on motorcycles. I've ridden motorcycles since I was a kid and jumped and stuff, but never off a ramp and off a cliff in Norway. And McHugh and I, we had to, we found the place and something that's incredibly visual. He's a very elegant storyteller. Christopher McCoy has an amazing eye, so it's finding that location. And then essentially looking and building the ramp. So all of these pieces came together, and I broke it up into pieces because when I'm doing the jump, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. I only have a few seconds before I have to open the parachute. And you can see on the internet, the longer version, when I'm testing, when I'm jumping out of the helicopter and I'm testing, because I'm going down into a bowl, and there's all kinds of turbulence there, and you can see I opened a little just shoulder high, just very subtle, and as I opened, the parachute turned me into the side of the cliff. So you can see I open and it goes inside the cliff. I recover, but those are the things that I have to worry about as I'm going across the ramp. I'm worried about that helicopter coming across and blowing me off the ramp before I get to the end. Once I depart the ramp, it's also the separation from the motorcycle and to keep my body in a position where I'm not going to go into a tumble. I then have to hold on long enough so that all the cameras can catch me falling, and then I have to open, obviously, before I hit the ground. And then don't hit the side of the mountain, and try to make it back. And so all of these things, I'm also, at the beginning, it's all one shot. And so I'm performing, I'm acting and thinking about story and character. But I'm also, when I'm doing things like this, I'm fully aware of all the cameras around and every aspect. McHugh and I have spent a lot of time. It's also where to put the camera. How do you film these things? So it's not just something you can see on the internet, but that invests an audience in story.
Thank you so much. I think that sounds absolutely incredible, and I'm very happy that we are coming to the next plot where we know that he's prepared a never-before-seen exclusive featurette to share with the Korean press today. It's a clip that's being shown for the first time in the world. So let's first take a look at the speed flying featurette, and then we will invite you back on stage to talk more.
Sure.
Thank you. That was absolutely incredible, to say the least. And it just goes to show how much work, focus, and dedication go into creating a mission film. And now to talk a little bit more in depth, we'll have Tom Cruise again and director Christopher McQuarrie.
Hello. Thank you. Yeah, speed flying's fun. It's a great sport. Very elegant sport.
Very dangerous, too, I see.
Yes, of course.
All right, so welcome, and Director McCoy, it's so great to have you join us here. I would like to start by asking both of you. So you have worked on so many projects together over the years.
Every film I've made for the past 16 years.
Every film, wow, that is...
From whether he's creative, he's a writer, he's worked on every single film.
Right.
Both of us together, we spend a lot of time. Our lives are about waking up and talking about movies and stories. It's a beautiful thing to do.
That's wonderful, which is why I'm sure you refer to him as your creative brother, as I've seen in interviews. Yes. Right. And so after all these years, I would like to hear, what is it that you enjoy so much about working with each other?
I would say probably the reason we work so well together is we both really care first and foremost about the audience's experience. That's really what it's about. We love movies, we love cinema, and we just love entertaining the audience.
Yeah, and we just have a lot of fun doing it. And it's something that we constantly are not taking any of this for granted. That we're always thinking of that audience, and it's something that we just see eye to eye with those things. And I admire his talent. I admire him as a person, as an artist, and we have a lot of fun together creating. It's fun, and we enjoy the process together.
Always learning.
Always. We're always studying, always learning, always challenging ourselves.
That's so inspiring.
I've been doing this a while. So
for a while, yes.
You never know it all, unfortunately, but fortunately.
And being the creative brothers that you are, Chris, I'd like to ask you, what goes through your mind when you're tasked with bringing one of the most dangerous stunts ever created to the big screen?
Bring Tom to Earth safely. That's pretty much it.
And shoot it, so it makes sense.
Yes, and make sure it was worth doing.
Make sure it was worth doing.
And in the case of something like the skydiving, I'm just staring at the crosshairs on the monitor and waiting to see his parachute. That's really it's kind of an out-of-body experience.
Do you ever get scared watching him do it?
No. We are so focused on safety and execution, and there are so many departments functioning together so synchronously that you really don't have time to think about that. Plus, we've been doing it a long time, so that really doesn't enter into it. We have an expression we say all the time: "Don't be careful, be competent." But if you're thinking too much about what could go wrong, that's where your focus is. So we're always focused on the positive. We're focused on everything that could go right.
The pressure's there. I mean, the pressure's there just making a movie anyway. And the pressure is absolutely there. It's not something that, as I said, we don't take it for granted. There's a relief when it's done.
Yes.
There's a relief that we got it. And that is captured on screen. So there's pressure. There's a tremendous pressure and nerves. And when we're doing things, I like to keep things because very relaxed. So we always go to work together in the morning, and we're talking about a story. So it's never we just treat each day just like another day of the pressure of making a movie. And so we also have another saying, which is pressure is a privilege. So look, in making any movie, there's just a tremendous amount of pressure, and we're looking for our story, we're finding our story. And it's just day to day. So that and I don't want him to worry about it. So I never tell him half the stuff. It's like,
I find out later.
He finds out later what happened, and I'm like, you don't need to know this stuff. Later we'll talk about it. It's all right. Don't worry.
Switching gears a little bit, so there seems to be a lot of emotion and humor in this movie. Why was that important for the movie? Chris?
To me, that is the reason for making the movies. The action and the stunts, all of the spectacle, they don't matter if you're not invested in the characters, invested emotionally in the story. And that's really what it comes down to for us.
It's humanity. We want a big screen adventure. we're looking at how cinema has developed. We're using all of our skills, me as an actor, as a producer, storyteller, together, and all of our cast in a manner that is as entertaining as possible for the audience. So every film I've made since I was 18 years old, and you kind of go, okay, now I'm going to use all of these skills, and I'm going to push them to the next. How we're using motion on such a large scale, action on such a large scale, that's developing character. And when you have that kind of structure of tension, you can have humor, and you can have great humor and great drama, and you can have character development. So when you see, what's amazing to me is the scale of our chase in Rome. Just getting those locations that we have for brief moments, and to be able, when you look at the movie, they're playing in a two-shot. We're not editing back and forth. This is, and you look at Haley and I, you look at that performance that is, it's right there on screen. It's happening. It's immediate. That's not green screen. It is practical action. It is live. It is immediate. And you're going to get that kind of character spontaneity that I like in movies. That it's unexpected. And those are the things that we're looking for.
You mentioned Rome.
I want humor. I want action. I want humor. I want, you want people.
I want everything.
I want everything.
Everything. And you mentioned Rome, so which leads me to my next question. You shot all over the world for this movie. What location were you most excited to shoot in? Was it Rome for you, Tom?
I have to say every location. We get excited about every single place we go. I love to travel. I love not just being a tourist, but I want to work in those environments. So we're scouting the cities. We get to see the world that people don't get to see, because also we're working elbow to elbow and shoulder to shoulder with local crews, and we spend a lot of time educating those local crews on how we make movies, because the technology and the things that we're doing in these films, I've studied films all the way back to the origins of cinema, and he and I have applied, we've created knowledge, and we've also studied old techniques and applied them. So we want this art form to carry on. So when we're working with production companies, we're teaching them. And also, we get excited about going to these places. So we like to travel. His whole family likes to travel. So we're very excited about all of them. Norway was spectacular. Rome was spectacular.
And it's
Abu Dhabi was
Abu
amazing.
Dhabi.
Well, these are places that we've always wanted to shoot and celebrate. So, and it has that journey, cinematic journey for an audience. I want them to feel like they've traveled and had an experience when they see these films.
I'm sure that's what all of the audience is going to feel. So thank you so much to the both of you. And we've heard. Thank you. And we've heard from director Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise himself, the unstoppable masterminds of the Mission series. And now it's time for us to meet the amazing cast that bring that dream to life. So please welcome the cast of Dead Reckoning Part 1, Haley Atwell, Simon Pegg, Vanessa Kirby, and Palm Clemente.
This is a great cast, enormously talented, very dedicated and hardworking. Please.
뭐야?
Thank you so much for that.
I guess you're supposed to do the photos at the end. We went rogue.
Yeah.
That's the nature of this team. You go rogue all the time.
More photos the better. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
All right, so thank you everyone and welcome to the stage and also to Korea. All right, so I'd just like to let you know that I will be asking the pre-prepared questions to everyone, and then we will give enough time to the floor for the press to ask questions directly. So I would like to start with you, Haley. Could you tell us...
Her name's Haley also.
Yes.
Haley?
Hello, Haley. Nice to meet you. So I want to ask you, what is the best thing about being in a mission movie?
That's such a big question. Where to begin? I think there is so much, it's so meticulous in its preparation and its study and its discipline and its focus. So you come onto a Mission Impossible set and you're led by Tom and McHugh, it sets this bar where everyone comes and they thrive. They are encouraged to collaborate and make creative choices and see what lands for the audience. So as well as it's beautifully planned out and prepared, there is a lot of opportunity to try new things and always searching and finding the thing that we think the audience will love the most. So it's a wonderful feeling of collaboration.
That's lovely, thank you. And I want to ask you, Simon, this is your 5th mission outing. Could you tell us how Benji has evolved over the years?
Well, I mean, Benji started out as a sort of lab technician, and decided to join the field program and become a member of the IMF. And really, that's kind of when McHugh joined the family, because he came on board as a writer in Ghost Protocol. So we've sort of, with Tom, been able to evolve the character together, which has been really fun. He's gone from being a very enthusiastic little puppy of a guy to being a more sort of mature, capable agent. He loves Ethan, obviously.
Ethan loves Benji.
Everyone loves Benji. Everyone loves Benji, right? But I think it's a real privilege as an actor to get to play a character many times and get to evolve, work on what's gone before. I try and always approach him to think, what's he just been through, and build on that. And I couldn't think of 2 more sort of brilliant creatives to do that with. So, yeah, he's grown up.
We all have a lot of fun together.
And
we admire, I just admire them tremendously. Each one is so uniquely talented. And it's really fun to go every day. They constantly surprise us. We have a lot of fun. They're amazing.
That's amazing to hear as well. My next question is to you, Vanessa. And so this is your 2nd mission film. And what do you love about the franchise? We'd love to hear.
For me, I just love that they're all real human beings. They're people you feel you could bump into on the street or people you know, and I think because of that, I've always admired what Tom does with Ethan is it feels like it could be any one of us. Somehow it's a man caught in something, trying to do the right thing, stumbling along the way, flawed, and therefore becomes a hero, I think, because of that, rather than being kind of supernaturally, inaccessible somehow. And I think he's always encouraged all of us to play many things at one time. So it's never, this is this character and this character, they all have vulnerabilities and weaknesses, and therefore it becomes a performance piece really in the height of this huge movie. And I don't know what else you could want as an actor.
And I want to ask you, Pom. And so, you excitedly newly joined the Mission series, and how excited was it for you to step onto a Mission movie set for the first time?
I feel like a devil right now, but I'm a villain, so it's great. It was so exciting. It was one of my dreams actually to be in Mission Impossible. And I remember at an interview in London, they said, how was it to work on Mission Impossible? And I said, it was a dream come true. I was like, come true. But it sounds like the same Tom and come true. So that was my dream. I saw the first movie when I was, maybe 11, on a tiny screen in black and white. The TV was barely working. I was blown away by the movie. And it was my dream to be part of the franchise, so thank you, Tom and McHugh.
Thank you. You're amazing. All of you are.
Oh, that's so beautiful to hear.
Easy. The kind of work that you have to do to make these films, we sit down with everyone beforehand and go, this is how we make these films. And first of all, I don't make a movie just to make a movie, and it takes a tremendous amount of discipline and dedication to be able to accomplish anything in life. And now we're going through and making a mission movie. It is physical. There's a fun process of going through these things, and I have to say, when you see this talented group of artists and the dedication that they bring to their craft and to this film, I speak for McHugh and I, every day we're just very grateful that we go in the editing room and look at them. And I just, look, they're my friends, I admire them, so it was very special.
Thank you for that. And Haley, we cannot not talk about that amazing, memorable car chase. So, and handcuffed to Tom, right? So, in the streets of Rome, what was that like to shoot? Could you share with us?
Well, we nicknamed the car Trixie because it quickly established she had a mind of her own and that she could respond to any slight adjustment of the wheel. So I thought it's such a funny setup, that Ethan Hunt is undermined by a Fiat 500. That gives you a sense that totally in this movie there's going to be great levity to it. I trained with Tom's, as we all know, such an accomplished athlete and stuntsman, and I had to learn how to drift. So I spent 5 months in the UK doing that. And it's a very different setup when you're learning the mechanics and the theory behind it on a racetrack in the UK, but then having to take it on location to somewhere like Rome, these cobbled streets, beautiful old buildings, surrounded by many cast and crew, and the new level of obstacles that come your way because of it propels you into this hypervigilance of wanting to make sure that you're getting it, you're being precise and mechanical with what you're doing, but that I've had the foundation for training in me so I know I can do it safely. So I hope it's fair to say I'm probably a more competent driver than Grace appears in the film. In order to portray a sense of recklessness, you can't be reckless as an actor. And so playing with that kind of paradox was so much fun. And then just being able to, so much of that car chase sequence is in a two-shot between Ethan and Grace. And so it's the wonderful challenge is to be present with each other in every single moment so that we're working very much together, despite that there are two characters who are at times totally exasperated by each other, but the pressure and the circumstance of the story has forced them together in a smooth space.
You did an amazing job because we're the way McHugh and I work, we're looking at the performance, we're looking at our character, we're developing that character. So when you're seeing these stunts, we might only have that road for 20 minutes. So we know as producers, McHugh and I know we have this amount of time and we need the performance. We need her performance. So
Right now,
like you have to deliver that performance right now, and we're playing and writing, so there's times where he'll give me a line and we'll throw it off like he'll be, so you're looking at that for that spontaneity. It's not just doing the stunt, you're acting as we're going along at high speed. So that kind of training that we do, and I oversee all of their programs. Like I help build their programs to get them to a place where they're comfortable with me, personally and as an actor, and in the race car with me, in those cars, in these kinds of environment. We're there with other cars coming at us, and you have to also be very safe. And so it takes a tremendous amount of concentration. It's when people start to act and they're doing stunts, that's where,
concentration and trust.
Yes.
That's really the thing. To be in the car with somebody else driving while you're acting, it takes an enormous amount of faith and trust.
To get the performance, you have 20 minutes, or 15 minutes, or one more take, and that's it.
And most of the time, there is no preparing for it. We watch the performance and say, this line would be better, or try this as an idea. So much of what you're seeing is improvised.
I feel like I'm getting out of breath just listening to
and what you're seeing, the thing about Haley in this car chase, when McHugh and we were casting Haley, she invites that kind of tone for Rome. So when we use motion as an action as a compression for character development.
So you're looking at how we're bringing these characters together and pulling them apart. And unless you're invested in the characters, I'm not interested in action unless I'm invested in the story and the characters. So that's all the time that we're looking. What story does it tell? What story does Haley bring? What story does each actor bring to it?
Wow.
Simon, Vanessa, and Paul.
So Simon, I actually want to ask you, speaking of these amazing stunts, can you tell us, what does your face look like when Tom is doing one of his infamously amazing, crazy stunts? Do you have to look away, or how does that
It's
go?
very pale, usually. You know, I know Tom is diligent. I mean, when it comes to the preparation for these stunts, one thing Tom is not is reckless. He's incredibly careful. And so I know that every single thing has been covered in the build-up to the stunt. I know that this is the safest place to do this. I know he's got the best people around him. He will generally train to be the best in the world at what he has to do before he does it. So all of that is there when we're doing those stunts. There is always the possibility of an unknown thing. That's always going to be hovering there. So yes, we do get very nervous. And I remember the day that Tom rode off the cliff. We were terrified. And I've got a video on my phone, which I've been told I'm allowed to post after the film comes out. And I'm standing with Haley, Palm, and Tarzan, and Tom goes off, and there's this big silence, and then we hear he's okay. And then we all just burst out laughing, but the laughter is incredibly hysterical and nervous, like you can tell how relieved we are that everything's okay. But as I
never
say,
saw that video. I never saw that.
I'll show it to you. I've got it on my phone.
But also he did it like 7 times in a row, I think, or 8 times in a row.
Yeah. By the end, I was just like, oh, whatever.
It was fun. I remember the first times every time I did it.
We all remember the first time.
Yes, and as you're going, you can't get casual about it. You just have to keep focused because, yeah, it's intense.
We're all going to be waiting very diligently for that video. And Vanessa, I would like to ask you, so you also do a lot of intense physical action in this film as well. Were they fun to film, and also how do you train for those scenes?
Yeah, I remember I'd never been around a lot of stunts, and I knew that on Fallout, last movie, I trained, I loved it. I'd never, ever understood physicality in my body before, and it's a gift of doing these movies that it just requires you to have that relationship with yourself, which is a lifelong gift as well. I always say to Tom, it's changed my life. But I remember in that first fight that I watched Tom do, I realised it's not stunts, it's balletic, it's ballet in some ways, it's an art form. It's not, pulling off some tough guy action stuff, it's dancing, and because you don't make contact, but you have to look like you're making contact, and that's athleticism of a sort of balletic nature in a way that I'd never experienced. And then doing that stunt with Tom, I realised I was working with the master of it.
But I have to tell you, the moment that you came up with in Fallout, I love this moment. We're fighting in the club. This is a Fallout. And we're in the middle of this action. And, the whole way we designed it was Ethan's doing the action, and suddenly Vanessa, the White Widow, surprises, and she can take care of herself. And you see that evolution of the character that you think she's letting Ethan help her, and then she saves Ethan, and she just looks at him, and you have this look, and you did it. You just embodied it. Your physicality is amazing. I had no idea that you weren't an athlete, or you didn't feel that kind of thing because you were so natural. And she gives us this look, and Q and I were like, that look in Fallout, where she's just looking at Ethan like, isn't this fun? We're like, oh my gosh. We were around that video monitor afterwards. We're like, this is what an actress to be able to.
That was the character.
We're always looking for motion that defines character, and we want the actors. We're studying the actors. We're studying the way they move. That it's not just mechanical. It's not just. You want their personalities to come through. That they feel so confident in emotion, and you want that character to come alive. And that's what we're always looking for. Like, where is it? Where's that lightning in a bottle? And you created that moment, and still to this day, I'll never forget how you. McHugh says, "Come here." He calls me over. He's like, "Did you see that? Did you?" I said, "Yes, I saw that moment. It's amazing." Where she just looks at me. That's the stuff that we're looking for. That kind of those moments that we're looking for. Thank you.
Tom, I don't know if I told you this, but I was always last in the running race at school. And now I don't think I would be, thanks to you. Quite cool. I've made it, I'm cool.
When I remember that was the moment I think we all kind of fell in love with that character.
I know, it is. It is the moment you're going, oh my, and that's exactly it. What's amazing in cinema is when you have brilliant actors like these guys, the moments that they create, like Simon Pegg, he can have the emotion that he brings underneath, always with, from the beginning. And I know you say he was just, always from the beginning. I admired his work from Shaun of the Dead, and when he said he wanted to make Mission, I was so happy that he has a pathos underneath that he's a real person. I'm invested in that character. He's me, in the audience. So I just really...
There's always great drama in the midst of that. There's great emotion in the midst of that.
He can play drama and comedy and character stuff that range is just always amazes me. And it's fun. He just brings it. Like, you should see him on set. It's just like boom, boom, boom.
Were you blushing?
It's true though, Simon, he just brings it in a manner.
This is to make up for being pale.
Yes. This is the other color Tom makes me is great.
It's true.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. And I want to ask you, Pom, do you ever feel like you're fully prepared to be a part of a mission series? Did you know what you were getting into, is what I'm asking.
Great question.
Great question, Haley. Pom?
You have to be ready for the impossible. You have to be ready to just jump and go for it. But again, there's so much training behind it. And actually, I know you don't want to say that story, but I was even at training before getting cast in the movie because it was my dream to be in Mission Impossible.
I love this story.
So I would train martial arts with a martial artist called Jessa Noviello, and he taught me how to punch, how to kick, and sometimes even in my schedule, instead of writing martial arts training or stunt training in my phone, in my schedule, I would write Mission Impossible because I wanted to manifest it. And then it happened. And then I got to do this fight scene with Tom, which was, I don't know how I can top doing a fight scene with Tom Cruise in an action movie, So...
Do another one.
I know. Yes. I must say to everyone, this is how you do it, okay? When I was a kid, I'd write goals on my wall. And I'd write a goal. And then I would figure out, what do I have to do to attain that goal? What steps do I need to do? And it's very inspiring. And Pom did not tell us this story for a couple of years.
I don't want to sound like a freak or a stalker.
Pom, you're not a freak or a stalker because I admire you.
I trained hard. I was like, I'm ready.
She trained so hard, and then she auditions and didn't tell us. And has created this incredible character. But it's inspiring because that's what she did, and she created it. She made this happen for herself to be a Mission Impossible. You have to put it out there. And what you do is she's trained for it, and if you build it, they will come. So she trained for it, and she made it happen. I think it's a very inspiring story, and she worked so hard, and you were amazing with that. Like, you see what Pom does, all the moments of this movie, they weren't written. Her doing the heart on the glass, okay? The whole makeup that she has in the club. The characters, like each one of these actors just keeps creating those moments that I want audiences to know. That is the stuff and what I admire about Christopher McQuarrie, the first time that I worked with him, he sees actors and he can write for actors. He's not just writing a script and trying to fit, bless you, I know someone's sneezing, bless you, that someone is fitting into that performance. He understands that film is live. It has a life, and you have to be willing to change something if it's not working. You have to be willing to celebrate the actors that you're working with. And if you look at the origins of cinema, you had these great actors, and they wrote for them. They delivered them to an audience in a manner that is cinematic, that is visual storytelling. And he understands that, and he appreciates that. And that is my school of cinema. That's how I learned how to do it. But I just really admire that, Mom. And it's inspiring. It is the way to do things. You have to do it. Do you mind?
You inspire us always, you know, and we have to even like do it better, you know. We have to be at the top of our game when we're with you. So you know, it's infectious.
You know, it was an honor to hear that. I loved doing our fight together.
So much fun.
I love it. It was
very hard and
It was a
very
very
technical.
tough fight in that small thing. It was very tight and very tough. And every day that fight was what she did was extraordinary.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And do you mind me telling you the story about Vanessa Redgrave?
Please.
Do you mind? I love these stories. Do y'all mind? Do you have a minute? Can I tell this?
Go ahead.
Do you mind? So these are the things that we don't hear till later. It's like Haley's an actress that we've been watching for many years and we wanted to work with her. And now we're working with New also, enormously talented. And she tells us this story. And that she had a namesake was Vanessa Redgrave. And Vanessa Redgrave was in Mission 1, an actress that I really admired. And so it was inspiration for her to become an actress. She always wanted to become an actress. There's Vanessa Redgrave. So now she's making Mission, and when you're 12 years old, you see her in theater, and you tell Vanessa Redgrave that you want to be an actress. And Vanessa Redgrave says, and you will be. Is that what she said? It was so beautiful, 12 years old. She goes backstage in England and says, and now, all these years later, she makes Mission Impossible, and Vanessa is playing Vanessa Redgrave's daughter in the film that McHugh came up with while we were shooting the film.
In post.
In post, you came up with it, in post-production. So I love these kinds of stories, that here is this brilliant actress inspired by, the older generation, and look what they've accomplished. So just thought you all would enjoy these little tidbits of Mission knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those stories. And now we are going to open the floor for questions. So please raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question, and the team will have the mic delivered to you. The questions from the floor will then be consecutively interpreted by me on stage. So we want to ask you that you ask the questions in Korean only, so that we don't mix up the interpretation flow. We also kindly ask that you limit yourself to one question, so that we can hear from the most of you. All right, so first question. Here? Yes, thank you.
네, 안녕하세요. 저 MBA.
I'm sorry, I don't see you.
Over there to the left.
I'm sorry.
Right there.
Oh, hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Munyoung Kim from MBN. 질문 좀 드리겠습니다. 노르웨이 절벽에서 모터사이클을 타고 가시다가 그 상태로 뛰어내리시는 장면을 보여주셨는데 메이킹 영상에도 나왔고요. 모터사이클을 실제로 탄 상태로 정말 그 위치에서 떨어지신 건지 궁금합니다. 왜냐면 저희 부모님께서도 예고편 보시고 진짜 이걸 했을 리가 있냐라고 하셨거든요. 그래서 구체적인 훈련 기간이 어떻게 되셨는지, 그런 열정은 어떻게 나오시고, 그리고 스턴트 없이 직접 하시는 연기가 또 다른 것이 어떤 것들이 있는지 조금 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
Alright, so this question's to you, Tom. We see you on screen jumping off a motorcycle in the Norway cliff. Now, we've seen it behind the scenes, real and everything, but did you really, literally, physically, were you on that motorcycle jumping off that cliff? And I ask you because my parents, when they saw the trailer, they were like, hey, no, that can't be true. And so I want to ask you specifically how long it took for you to prepare, how long the training part was, and what motivates you, what gives you that passion?
Yes, that absolutely is me. Every frame.
I can prove it if you want to look at my phone.
Oh, every frame. I always wanted, it's my passion for storytelling. It is my passion for life, for adventure, for entertaining an audience. All of those things in combination that I just put into it. And I have dedicated my life to this art form. And so that is my passion. And the training, look, I've been skydiving for many, many, many years. And I've been riding motorcycles since I was a little kid. So I'm constantly training on things to put into movies. And so for this the final training was, I don't know, 5 months? Maybe something like that. But it's also the years ahead. It took, had I not done all of the years beforehand, all the training that I do, when I go skydiving and ride a lot of motorcycles on racetracks and all of my movies, Yeah, so it's accumulation of my lifetime of work. And I'm someone who I'm constantly, even if I'm not doing stunts, you have to be very fit to make these movies, to make any kind of film. You have to have an endurance because the hours are long. I'm usually producing the films, or at the very least, I'm just responsible for it because, you know, people are making it because of me, and I have to be prepared and ready. A lot of responsibility.
Thank you for that. Next question. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Again, to your left.
안녕하십니까. SR타임즈 신우진 기자입니다.
I'm sorry, I don't know where. Oh, hello. How are you? Nice to see you.
SR타임즈 신우진 기자입니다. 영화 굉장히 재밌게 잘 봤고요. 그 모든 분들에게 공통적으로 질문을 좀 드리겠습니다. 관객분들이 이 시리즈를 전체적으로 보실 분들이나 보시지 않으신 분들이나 이 영화를 봤을 때 식상함을 느끼지 않고 오직 극장에서 독점적으로 경험할 수 있는 영화를 위해서 만들고 또 연기하시는 부분, 이런 부분들에 대해서 공을 들이신 부분이 어떤 부분인지를 좀 답변 드리겠습니다.
So I want to say firstly, I greatly enjoyed the film, and I want to ask everyone and anyone who would like to answer. So it seems that you put in so much dedication and focus into creating a movie where you don't have to be familiar to the franchise. You know, this can be the first of the Mission films that you watch, and still it will be just as exciting and riveting. And I feel like you also put in a lot of effort to making it fit for the big screen experience. Can you tell us a little bit about what some of the priorities or level areas of focus were in making that happen?
Thank you for saying that, because that has been the focus for us. You know, when we look at, I love making movies for the big screen. I understand that there are, the cousins are streaming and television, but the first thing I want to create is for distribution and for audiences is that big screen experience and applying all the skills that we have to it. We're creating knowledge in terms of the cameras, the locations. The whole purpose of that is for the big screen. And when an audience sees this, and it is a movie, it is a different experience seeing it as a community to share an experience together with an audience. And we go to the theaters and we see it. Get my popcorn, sit down. I want to be there with an audience experience. And the amount of effort that we put into visually, into the sound, into the story, so that an audience doesn't have to have seen all the other missions. If they want to see all the other missions, they'll get maybe even more out of it, but it's going to be a visual, exciting experience without that. And that has been a very strong focus of ours. But the mix, the music, the sound, the big screen, it's always in our minds. And I've been someone, look, I made Far and Away when I was pushing the large screen format back in the 1980s with 65 millimeter and had that camera built and developed because I wanted this kind of screen always for an audience. Seeing it on an iPhone, on a TV, that has its place, but this is first and foremost this is why these films were made, and I encourage an audience to go. You're going to have an experience, and with you.
Seeing it with an audience. Yes. It's just a very different experience seeing a movie in a theater with 500 strangers than it is watching it at home and feeling it with a community. A shared experience is really something that movies.
And today, in this world where people are on their devices and there's a separation, I think it's even more important today that we're watching movies in the cinema together as a community. You know, going to live events, coming out of everything that we've all been through. I want those experiences. I love people. I love people, and I love people from all cultures and walks of life, and the beauty of seeing live performance, or the beauty of cinema, is that we can all sit there together and have our different viewpoints and share a community experience. And I think it's one of the great joys in life for me. And I know McHugh feels the same way with that.
Very much.
Thank you. Next question? Back there?
네, 안녕하세요. 문화일보 이정훈 기자입니다. 톰 크루즈 아들 삼촌 아무리 준비를 철저히 해도 스턴트 연기가 상당히 위험해 보이는데 그 스턴트 연기를 하기 전에 좀 특별한 루틴이 있는지 뭐 저 같은 경우에는 신한테 기도라도 할 것 같은데 좀 사전에 뭘 해야 하는 게 있는지 궁금하고요. 그리고 이제 좀 겁이 없어 보이는데 특별히 무서운 게 있으신지 궁금합니다.
So I want to, and he referred to you as Uncle Tom, so I would like to ask you, Uncle Tom, you know,
Thank you for that. That's lovely. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
you know, when it comes to these stunts, I mean, no matter how much you have prepared, and you have decades of preparation, it feels like one cannot be, fully unscared. So are there any rituals that you like to go through? Because I feel like even maybe a slight prayer will help.
Yes, let me make this clear. It's not that I'm not scared, okay? I don't mind being scared. I don't mind feeling that, and I like to confront. Like, I don't mind that. I want to confront it. And there are things that I prepare, and I prepare, and I prepare. And then it's just very calm. I like things very calm. There are things that, there's no real ritual. I'll get up and usually have a very good breakfast. The morning of the jump, I remember the weather was not good for a couple of days, and it was, the pressure was building with the whole crew because that was the first day of shooting. Do you remember that? And the pressure, it was just building because every day I go to bed and we're looking at the weather. Everything's very weather dependent because it's practical action, whether I'm driving a car with Haley in it or jumping off a cliff. If it's slick or the temperatures aren't right, there's a lot of things to think about, the tire temperatures. When we got up in the morning, there was ice on the ramp. And they're cleaning the ramp, and so what I like to do is I walk the ramp, I look at every, even before I'm doing a stunt, I'll walk around with the cars. Before we were in that yellow car when I'm driving Haley, I'll walk around, I'll look at everything. I'll look at the store, I'll look at people, I'll make sure that that everyone's going to be safe, meaning no one's going to be coming out of the stores, that the lockups there. I personally walk every part of the road before we do things. And the same with the ramp. We got up, he and I walked the ramp together. It was very calm. We're looking at the light. We showed up when it was dark, and then basically we ate. And then you see me in that I have to jump into the bowl beforehand because I'm testing the wind. And I like to keep things just very relaxed, and I just go through the same steps that I do every single day. But it's not that I don't feel nervous or I don't feel that fear. I do. I just don't mind it. And I just always make sure that I'm just very methodical as I'm going through things, thinking about the movie, thinking about performance, and thinking about, because I have to be spatially aware, where I'm not inside, I'm outside. My view and my perceptions are outside because I have to know where that helicopter is. There's a drone. I know where the crew is. And I like to get to that place where I'm just very calm, very relaxed, even under the pressure. Even when I have to act like I'm not relaxed or I'm tense inside of that car with Haley, she'll see me. I'll be like, you see what Ethan's doing, but in between, I'm watching her as we're doing things and making sure that, because he and I will go and talk about performance afterwards. So I'm watching her and I'm acting also. So I'm both acting and watching her, and also I'm setting camera angles so that when I'm going off, I know where that helicopter is. I know the lens that the helicopter has. And I've spent my life studying lenses and knowing what it's going to capture, and he and I are constantly, in communication about stories. So those are the things that I think about. It's very much story.
There was a second part to the question. You partly answered it, but you seem like a man with no fears. Is there anything you're scared of? I think aside from stunts.
Well, I think it's something that I don't feel. I've never not done something because I'm afraid. If anything, I go, why am I afraid? And I look as a human being to confront it. I look. I'm someone who, you'll hear me, they'll hear me, I'm like, look, don't think, please look. You know, if you look at Top Gun Maverick, it's like, don't think, do. It's important to look. Don't just think about things, you have to look. So that is what I do, and I find that when I start exploring my interest in life, my interest in people, my interest in the environment always comes from not being internal, it's looking and evaluating things myself. So it's not like I don't have these feelings, but I know when I'm feeling that, it's like I look. That makes sense.
It does make sense, and very inspiring too. Thank you. Next question. Back there, and yes.
안녕하세요.
Hello. How are you?
YTN의 홍상입니다.
Hello. Nice to see you.
탐과 다른 모두 배우들에게 여쭤보겠는데요. 먼저 탐에게는 11번째 방한이고 오실 때마다 많은 한국 팬들이 기다리고 있습니다. 혹시 톰 아저씨라는, 친절한 톰 아저씨라는 별명을 알고 계시는지 궁금하고, 그 다음에는 한국 팬들이 탐에게 어떤 존재인지, 어떤 영감을 주는지 알고 싶습니다. 그리고 다른 배우들도 이번에 한국을 방한해 한국 팬들 만난 소감을 들어보고 싶습니다.
So this question I want to ask everyone, and for Tom as well. You visited Korea. This is your 11th visit to Korea, and we want to ask. Are you aware that Korean fans have this loving, endearing nickname for you, the kind Uncle Tom? You aware of that?
I love that. I'm very honored to have that. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, and so I'd like to ask you, what do Korean fans mean to you, and how do they inspire you? And I would also like to ask everyone, what has your visit to Korea? I know it's been short until now, but what has that meant to you, and how do you feel about visiting Korea with this movie?
I love Korea, and McHugh and I, when we were there, it's like the places I grew up, and I always moved around as a kid in America and Canada. Those are the places that I grew up. I dreamed of coming here. It was my dream to be able to come to this country, to travel the world, to study the history, to not just be a tourist, but to be part of a culture, to experience it in that manner. That is who I am as a person, and it means everything to me, the welcome that I get. We were there the other night, and we just came out of a Korean barbecue, which I absolutely love. Amazing food. Amazing culture. And we just stood on the street, and I just wanted, it was like, because we're very busy, we're working, and we're also preparing the next film. We've shot some of it. But I love coming here and just taking a moment, and I'm in the street, and I'm saying hello to people, and people that love movies, that, love their country, are also very interested in our culture, and they're sharing it with me. I have wonderful conversations. We met a wonderful editor from another country. So that is the joy of life. The joy of life is to be able to, and I feel very privileged to travel around. It gives you, there's a differences in common elements that we all feel as human beings. And I was very curious as a child as to what is it like? What is it like in Korea? What are the people like? Will they laugh at the same things that I laugh at? Do they love the same way that I love? And I found that commonality of humanity, and it's a very beautiful thing. And cinema has allowed me to be able to tell stories, and I've seen films in your all's culture, from your culture, and to be able to share that here, and to sit in this theater, this very theater that we go, and we're going to sit through the film tonight. We're going to watch the movie with the audience and experience that. It means a great deal. Sorry for the long answer, but it means a great deal to be here. Thank you.
I imagine this has been my 5th or 6th trip to Korea.
We were notified it's your 5th.
It's my 5th?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad somebody was there. But it's always different, and it's always the same. And the thing I love most about it is the people. And the greeting we receive from the moment we get off the plane until the moment.
I did not expect that.
No, and you never know what to expect, but it's always lovely and so gracious and so kind. and the enthusiasm from the people in Korea is just so wonderful, and it's very reaffirming. It's very life affirming coming to Korea.
Thank you for that. And I know that for some members of the cast, it's your very first time visiting Korea. Could we hear from you too, as Haley?
It's first time.
First time, and I wanted to come here for so long. I'm a huge...
Talked about it when we were filming.
That's right.
We're coming here.
We're coming here, and these movies exist for an audience, and like Tom was saying, to be able to take these globally, it's such a privilege as the natural byproduct of that to experience just the warmth and the kindness and the generosity of people. And I arrived just yesterday, and from the people that I've met, the immediate sense of sort of kindness and hospitality. I was at the gym this morning, and I was walking to my room, and this lovely lady ran out of the gym, and she came up to me very polite, just saying, you know, how happy it made her that we were here, and just the you know, to hear that is such a welcoming, a sense of kind of hoping that our work can belong here for you, as well as of all the places that we get to travel. And I love the food so much. It's delicious. So I'll be hopefully eating a few more meals before we leave.
Yes, we will.
Please do.
This is my third time in Korea, and I love coming here so much. The fans are wonderful. They buy me presents and wrap them exquisitely.
Love a good present, don't you, son?
I love a present. I have to have it shipped back. They're called the Pegsters. They call themselves the Radical Korean Pegsters. And they're a group of fans, and they meet me every time. But I'm a massive fan of Korean culture myself. I've long been a fan of Korean cinema. Three of my favorite horror movies are from here. Train to Busan, The Host, and I Saw the Devil. And my daughter and I watch Korean drama on Netflix all the time. So we watched Crash Landing on You, and Vincenzo, and Squid Game, obviously, Strangers from Hell, 25, I could go on, we've watched so many. My daughter is a big fan of Lee Dong-wook, who she thinks is dreamy.
I'm very happy to hear that.
I am a big fan of Kim Tae-ri, gotta say. But so, 감사합니다 for all your entertainment that you've given me, because it's wonderful stuff. You're an incredibly inventive and imaginative, creative group, and I really respect you and love. So more, please, more. Oh, and I took my daughter to see BTS in Las Vegas, and we met the boys, and it was very exciting. I'm Army.
Thank you so much for that. You're going to need a bigger plane to carry back all your gifts. All right, thank you so much for that. Well, no, I got presents at the airport, which I've never had in my life before. So that is just such a testament to the welcome and the warmth of the Korean people. I also grew up on Korean cinema, and so it's just been a big dream of mine to come. And as I was landing, I was looking out, and I couldn't believe that I was here for the first time. So it's such a pleasure to be here as part of the Mission Impossible family. And also, what I've really noticed is the pride in the country and the pride in the culture. I think that's such a good example, to be so proud to be from where you belong. Makes me want to be proud from where I'm from, and actually it's remarkable how you feel that from every single person, and that to me is a beautiful sort of belonging and home feeling. And I think that then means that you guys welcome visitors so extraordinarily, because you want to show us your home, so it feels like we're coming to a home, so that's a beautiful thing. That's lovely. And Mom, please, you know how much we love you here.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. I've been here a few times to promote different movies and also on vacation. I came when I was little, but I don't really remember. My mother was Korean. She raised me just for a few years, and she called me Pom because she said that I don't speak Korean. She said that Pom means spring and Bom means tiger. And I'm born in spring, and my Chinese sign is tiger, and I think it reflects my personality too.
It absolutely does.
Spring,
we
and
can all
then
testify to
tiger. And I'm a huge fan of Korean cinema as well. Old Boy by Park Chan-wook is one of the movies that made me want to become an actress, and I love Bong Joon-ho movies too. Sorry for the pronunciation. Yes, I'm very, very happy to be back here.
That's lovely. Thank you so much. So yes, we're going to take another question.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는 그 이대일의 유준하 기자인데요. 일단 감독님이랑 이제 톰 크루즈 배우님이 만드신 영화 재미있게 너무 잘 봤고요. 제 시리즈마다 늘 이렇게 엔터테인먼트를 선사해 주시는데 혹시 이 시리즈 결말에 대해서 생각해 주신 게 있으신지, 이 시리즈가 나중에는 또 에단 헌트가 우주에서도 액션을 하게 되는 날이 오는지 궁금해서 여쭤봅니다.
I first want to thank you for this amazing entertainment that you have brought to us. My question goes to you, Chris. So, you bring us such great joy and cinema magic every time. Have you thought about how the series is going to end? Is that all in your head? Because I feel like at this rate, we might even see some crazy stunts done in outer space.
Considering who I work with, one way or another, I will probably end up in space, like it or not. As far as how the series ends, I usually go to work not knowing how the day will end. It's very true. We have a plan. We have a direction. We definitely have a place that we think we're going to. But when you're working with a cast like this, it's always a process of discovery, and we never let the plan get in the way of a better idea. So most days I come home surprised and throwing out tomorrow's plan because of what we did today. So I really, even if I had a plan for how the franchise would end, I can't promise you that that's where we would end up.
Wow. All right. Thank you for that. And due to time constraints, we're going to have to take one last question. I see that the last question will come from the, over there, up left. Is that a penguin?
Hello. I'm Su. I'm from Antarctica.
Way back.
I'm honored to be conclusive beauty.
Oh yes. How are you? Yes.
I'm Tangy.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Very well. Very, very happy.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
질문드리겠습니다. conclusive beauty. 배우님은 지금까지 다양한 정도에서 엄청난 스포츠를 보여주시는데요. 특히나 이번 작품에서는 노르웨이 낙하작전이 정말이지 성스러웠습니다. 그렇지만 배우님의 팬으로서 혹시 다치지는 않으실까 걱정되는 것도 사실입니다. 또 그렇지만 계속해서 배우님의 스포츠를 보고 싶은 것도 사실이고 이 시리즈가 영원히 끝나지 않았으면 좋겠습니다. 그래서 김 배우님은 도전하고 싶으신 스포츠가 또 있으시는지 그리고 언젠가 제 고향인 남부에서 배경으로 한 스포츠는 기대해도 좋을지 궁금합니다.
Thank you. So the question is to you, Tom. You are my favorite actor. I love you, and it is amazing how many stunts you have shown us. And in this particular film, The Fall in Norway, it was just astonishing to say the least. As your biggest fan, I worry about you getting hurt, but also want you to do more stunts. So, I never want the Mission series to end. I have a question for you, that is, are you planning to do any more stunts that you haven't done before that you want to do in the future? And also, will you ever come to my homeland, the South Pole, to do some more stunts?
Well, I can answer some of that. I can tell you he's already done something crazier than what you've seen. Something crazier after that is coming. We were just on the North Pole. So
You're on the North. Do you ever visit the North Pole?
형수가 북극은 볼 생각 없나요?
Did you ever go to the North Pole?
저는 북극을 가보지도 못했습니다. 너무 멉니다.
It's way too far, sir. I haven't set foot in the North Pole.
Oh, okay. Well, we shot the North. We'll have to shoot the
we
South.
have to go, yes.
오, 감사합니다.
Wow. So on that note, with a very excited penguin, thank you all for your questions.
I want to thank you all for having us, and thank you for your questions. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And actually, I was going to ask for all of your last comments to the Korean press before we wrap up. So please go ahead.
Just thank you. It's a privilege to be here. I love coming. We talk about it when we're making the film. So I'm just enjoying every moment tonight. We're going to show up early for the red carpet tonight and just have a wonderful, fun cinematic evening, and this is a full cinema day. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate your kindness and your generosity to me, always, and to the whole cast. We love you, and we have great respect for your culture, for your art, and thank you very much.
I've been here many times. It's never enough times. It's never long enough. It's just lovely to be back in Korea, and we're very excited for everyone to see the film tonight.
It's my first time here. I hope I get to come back and spend a bit more time getting to know the people and the culture and eating lots of that amazing food. Thank you so much for being part of this whole journey for all of us. And it's so wonderful to be working on a movie for almost 4 years now, and it's finally ready to delight you all. So I hope you come back to cinema and see it many times.
This is always a highlight. Seoul is always a highlight of the press tour. I look forward to it so much. As I said, I'm such a fan of Korea, and it's just a privilege to be here. So to you all and to the radical Korean texters, 사랑해요.
It's such a pleasure to be here. It's my first ever time. Definitely going to come back. I really want to bring my family already. I hope you love the movie. It astonished me when I saw it for the first time 10 days ago. It's true, it was 4 years ago that we started. So it feels like a very special part of us that we get to share, and you guys have made it even more special for us, so thank you so much.
I can't wait for you all, for all the Korean fans to see the movie. And I just have one question. Do you know a good place to sing karaoke in Seoul?
We're going to have to get back to you with an
Thank you.
So we want to thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
And
Great
you're
job.
now, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to now ask you to leave the stage, and then we will have you back for photos when the stage is ready. Thank you. 네, 장례 시청자님들께 잠시 안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 잠시 후에 포토 세션이 진행될 예정이니까요. 조금만 더 기다려 주시기를 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.
좀 이따가 만든 다음에 보내주세요.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Simon Pegg. Back at it again as Benji Dunn. Please step up to the center of the stage. Start with looking into your left. Thank you, and straight ahead. Yes, so we'll start left, now straight ahead to the center, and to your right. Thank you so much. Please exit stage left. Now please welcome Haley Atwell, joining as the character Grace. Please step up to the center of the stage. Haley, welcome. Welcome. Exciting new member of the cast in Dead Reckoning. Cannot wait to see her jaw-dropping action. Let's start with your left. Straight ahead to the center of the room. And to your right. All right, thank you so much, Haley. And you can exit stage left. Thank you. Next, please welcome Vanessa Kirby, back as the White Widow. Up to the center of the stage. Surprised us with her unforgettable presence in Mission Impossible Fallout and here to wow us once again. Welcome, Vanessa. All right, let's start with your left. Thank you. Now your center. Straight ahead, please. And now to your right. All right, thank you so much. Leave the stage to your left. Thank you. And now, let's invite Tom Clementieff, playing the role of Karis. Please step up to the center of the stage. The birth of a true action star, the mysterious Karis who takes on Tom Cruise. Welcome. You will start with your left, please. And now your center. And to your right. Lovely. Thank you so much, Mom. Thank you. You can exit left. Yes, thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Director Christopher McQuarrie to the stage. Welcome. All right, please take center stage. Creative partner to Tom Cruise, Oscar-winning director Christopher McQuarrie. All right, let's begin with your left. Straight ahead, please. Thank you. Center of the room. All right, and here comes Tom Cruise to join Chris McQuarrie. Thank you, Tom. Okay, let's start with the right. you, Alan. All right, so we have the members of the cast joining us for a group photo. Please, everyone, step onto the stage. Welcome. If you could stand a little bit closer to one another, that makes for a better group photo. All right. Looks great. Okay, can we start from the left of the room, please? All right. I think we're starting from the right. That's fine. All right, and then now straight ahead to the center of the room. And if you could all turn slightly to your left, please. Left, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And if we could just ask you, Tom, for your last solo shot session, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Everyone, you may be stage left, and if Tom, you could just stand a little bit more for your solo shot. Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you so much, Tom, giving us that famous Korean heart. Thank you. All right, thank you so much, Tom, and thank you, everyone. That will conclude the photo session. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everyone, and this concludes the Korea press conference for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. We want to thank Team Mission Impossible and thank you to all members of the press for joining us today. Thank you. 네, 오늘 미션 임파서블 대드래곤이 한번 기자회견에 참석해 주신 기자님께 감사의 말씀 드리겠습니다. 이만 마치도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.